Hi, I'm Mark Mozzafero, Public Information Officer for the City of Vacaville, and this is another episode of Word on the Street with Vacaville Police Chief Richard Word. Chief, thanks for taking some time out of your day.
Yes, sir.
I think today's edition is going to be kind of more like a public service announcement, because I think there's people out there that don't quite understand some real basic principles of law enforcement, and I'm hoping you can clear it up for us. I'm just going to throw out some scenarios, and I want you to respond.
Okay.
Stop or I'll shoot. What should the average person do?
First, stop. Obviously, stop.
Okay.
Assuming they hear the police officer.
Okay.
If it's a crowded condition, maybe they don't, but you should stop. And always keep your hands visible. It's amazing the number of people that may reach for something to show the officer, to explain their presence at a location. It's amazing. People will, especially in a car, that's the worst thing you can do. I've always been taught, put your hands on the steering wheel once you're pulled over, just so an officer knows, and don't reach for a glove box, for example. Don't reach into a pocket or a purse without explaining to the officer, hey, by the way, my license is in my purse. I'm going to reach into my purse and grab my license.
And I don't mean to make light of what's happened in the last week in Vallejo, but it's happened in other places around the country where there's an officer-involved shooting. Someone either is seriously hurt or, in this case, killed. And inevitably, it's, he was told to stop. He wouldn't stop. He made some sort of motion, and the officers used deadly force.
Yeah. And that's their training, is they assess to see if someone's a threat. And if you're not listening, I mean, that threat level rises. And then if you reach for something, it even increases even more.
Right.
And then if you retrieve, in this instance, most recently, sadly, this guy apparently was reaching for some sort of metal telephone, a metal wallet of some sort. I don't know what those look like. And so if the officer sees that and can't quickly identify the object, I mean, they're taught to stop the threat. Now, some people would say, why didn't you shoot the guy in the leg or in the shoulder?
And we've had that question before.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the training is to, and if people notice in police shootings, the victims of shootings are never shot in the head. We're taught you stop the threat by shooting in the torso. I was taught 2 shots per turn of a target. It's kind of embedded in my head in the range when I was in training. It's not the training today, but because in a fast-moving, highly emotional situation, an officer who tries to shoot the shoulder is going to miss. It's inevitable. It may shoot someone behind his intended target. Right. And so that's why you're told. And you're not going to stop a threat. If somebody's threatening, you're not going to stop a threat by shooting someone in the shoulder.
And having shot weapons, rifles, handguns, it's not like on TV where he's running full blast and there's a guy 100 yards away and he shoots him, and it's... Of course. I mean, that's fantasy.
Yeah, it is. And we have a simulator at the police department that we use, especially for civilians to experience. It's amazing, the people that they're convinced they've shot someone, and we can show them where the rounds have gone and how far off they missed their target. And it's amazing when they shoot people that are not producing weapons. Maybe it's a large comb. Maybe it's a wallet, and nowadays, more often than not, it's a cell phone.
And that's the thing. I remember the first time I shot a weapon, a handgun, and I'm like, boom, boom, boom. They bring me the target. I didn't even come close. I didn't hit the target. It's like, where'd all these bullets go?
It's a good exposure. We've brought people, and people are welcome to come call us, and we can arrange to have them see and experience this. It is amazing. I've gone through it, and it's amazing. You get the heart rate going, and we can have fun with you and see how you react. We can change scenarios, and my folks do a great job of it. It's a good eye-opener, though, to realize, wow, he's only 5 or 10 feet from me, and I missed. I can't believe I missed.
Well, and I'm not sure. I know this most recent circumstance. It was at midnight. In an alley between 2 tall buildings.
All of those factors heighten the risk of a situation. Dark, and you can't see. The visibility's poor. And then someone's not compliant. Now, some people, Mark, are not. Maybe they've been drinking. Maybe they're high in some other substance. Maybe they're sick. There's an illness. Maybe they can't hear you. Maybe they're deaf. So officers are trained to assess, take cover, ask questions, yell, and see. And of course, if there's 2 of us, you have to make sure. We've had this situation, not in Vacaville, but in other jurisdictions. You give inconsistent commands. You may say, as an officer, show me your hands, and I yell, get down. That's not good on the police officer's part. The directions, that's why one person should give direction.
Right.
And obviously the first thing anybody should do if they ever get inconsistent direction, of course, is to show their hands to the police officer, either with your back facing him or her, or if you're facing the officer, show your hands.
But let's keep in mind that the average person, okay, first of all, the average person is not going to be driving around with his car lights off. The average person, when he's asked to pull over, is going to pull over.
Absolutely.
The average person, when he's told to stop, is going to stop. The average person, when you tell them to put up their hands, they're putting their hands up.
Sure. They follow direction.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In this instance, apparently from what we read, this guy recently in Vallejo had a felony record, and the behavior was strange. It makes you wonder what really happened in that instance. What was he thinking?
But even on these goofy reality shows, I mean, it's so simple. Okay, get on the ground and don't move. And they can't, the most basic, simple things, they have trouble with.
And we found, and we've seen people that are trying to conceal something else. Maybe it's a minor possession of a drug. So they're making these surreptitious movements to conceal something when in fact it's not a weapon. But the officer doesn't know that. He does not know that.
Right.
He assumes you're not following my commands. It's dark. You're reaching into an area I can't see. You're reaching for a weapon. That's probably the assumption they make.
Well, I find it quite puzzling and mind-boggling that, like I said, that this most simple commands can't be followed. And I mean, okay, maybe you have a problem with authority. Who knows, right? But from the police side, I mean, you don't have any choice, do you? I mean,
you don't. I mean, if you can take a step back, if it's fast moving, somebody's moving fast. Again, the reports where this person was approaching the officer, reaching into his waistband, that's a fast-moving situation. Some people are simply, they're intoxicated, moving slowly. You might have the opportunity to use your taser. You know, we've had instances here where officers show tremendous restraint. Somebody has a piece of glass, a broken piece of glass, a broken bottle, where then if you can keep a safe distance, you can deploy the taser.
Sure.
It's just not always possible because these things the situations change so quickly.
Well, it's just unfortunate that this has happened, but it's going to happen again.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's sadly it happens in policing across the country. I think Vallejo has had now 2 in the past 3 days, which is really unfortunate. It's not something officers want to do. I mean, it has a huge impact on them and their lives. That's why if people ever ask, why has that officer been placed on paid administrative leave following a shooting? It's because you want to make sure he or she gets the help they need, clear their head. You can assess the shooting. And determine if it was one that was in policy or if some other factors are at play before you return that officer to work. And we want to make sure the officers have a clear head when they're working the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, you know, it's a tragedy no matter how you slice it. But
it is. It really is.
Some tragedies can be avoided.
Yeah. Listen, show your hands, follow the commands.
Pretty basic.
If nothing else, if by chance the commands are inconsistent, put your hands up.
But you know what? The other day I'm driving down the street and I hear the sirens and I see the lights. I just pull over.
I do. I still do.
I mean, they're not chasing me.
No.
But the laws tell you, move over and pull over, right?
Yeah.
But people don't even do that.
They're in such a rush, and they assume. It's amazing. When I used to work the street, and I would sometimes be reluctant to turn my lights and siren on because of the erratic behavior of some motorists. And they were like, unbelievable. I thought everybody knew. You can't assume, officers don't, that everybody's going to pull over to the right. Well, some people will stop. I've had people stop on the highway.
And that's what kills me about, speaking of the highway, when, as I drive to work or drive wherever on the freeway, and you see people going in and out at 80 miles an hour in the right-hand lane. And I'm like, they're putting a lot of faith in these other drivers,
that's right.
That I'm just going to not do something erratic or out of the ordinary. They're putting themselves in danger, not to mention everybody else around them, right? But
driving code 3, lights and siren, it's a scary thing because you don't know how people will respond.
Right.
Some people will stop. Some people will pull over to the left, thinking that's safe. if nothing else, pull over to the right, slow down. If you can't move over safely, then of course you shouldn't.
Well, we have a public service announcement that I've started running again. It has Joel Brick in it. He was retired now,
Sure.
a retired fire guy, and he talks about some very basic, specific scenarios. You know, you're in an intersection, you're on a 2-lane road, or and it's pretty basic stuff, you
Sure.
know. But the most simple lesson is pull over, slow down, pull over.
It is. Slow down first, pull over when it's safe to do so.
Right.
You can safely do so. But people, I think, panic. And that's unfortunate. So, clearly the first rule is what you said. Pull over slowly.
Slow down, pull over.
Exactly.
When it's safe.
Yeah.
Well,
I should say, Mark, so many people now are, they've got it's distracted driving, though. It really is.
Yeah, you're either eating or on the phone or shaving or doing your makeup
or
talking.
Or the music is blasting and you can't hear a siren, and that's where people need to be mindful to pay attention. Maybe turn the music down. Of course, it's illegal, but still people are using the telephone. Don't do that.
Well, same with headphones. People wearing headphones, which is not legal.
Yeah. And it contributes to this distracted driving. They don't see, they don't know the environment, they don't hear the sirens.
Yeah, well, damn it, I have rights, Chief. And if I want to wear my earbuds while I'm driving down the road at 90 miles an hour, I'm going to do it.
We get a ticket.
Well, anyway, enough about that. We've got summer upon us, and that brings a whole other set of issues in our city. But
it does.
But I'm sure we're ready for whatever
we are.
We're
we're going to have a good creek walk. Thankfully, we still have a creek walk. There was some doubt for a while that we would, so we're preparing for that. That should be a good event. People, because there's more daylight and people tend to stay out later, and they tend to drink a little more during the warm weather. They get thirsty. That presents a problem. So we always encourage our local alcohol serving establishments to serve alcohol responsibly, and that's the best. I mean, if somebody needs a ride home, I think a good establishment will make sure someone gets a ride home.
Call a cab,
of course.
Designated driver,
absolutely.
Any number of things.
And I think we provide training, responsible beverage service training for our establishments. We had some training not too long ago, well attended, great training. And we want our establishments to do well and to attract these repeat customers. And you can politely tell them, hey, I'm not going to serve you anymore because I think you've had too much, but I'll call you a cab so you can get home.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a fear, hey, I don't want to lose this business. I want this person and his large party to come back.
Right. Well, having been in that business many years ago, it's not easy, but the alternative is much worse.
Thank you.
Either the person going out and killing themselves, or you, or killing somebody else, or something happens and now your business is responsible because legally that's how the laws are written. So I'd rather cut a guy off and fight or run away and fight another day.
We still have an officer who is focused on the drunk driving enforcement, and he made 120 drunk driving arrests last year. One every 3 days. Very busy, and I think he just scratched the surface.
So that means
sadly.
Not just on the weekends then.
That's right.
Wow.
And he works weeknights and during the summer, and we get special funding from the State Office of Traffic Safety, so we'll do special details, and it is busy, and you'll be amazed at the number of unlicensed drivers out there, and still, sadly, drunk drivers.
It's hard to believe.
It is still, after all of the talk and the work of Mothers Against Drunk Driving MAD, and
all the education, everything.
Amazing. Wow. Still, and the hammers and the penalties that are imposed in court.
Well, what do you think? Should we make it worse? The one I've never understood is I'm drunk, I kill somebody, and it's a manslaughter or something, and I get 3 years in jail? I took somebody's life.
Yeah, you took someone's life.
With a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
If I walked up to him and shot him, I go to jail for the rest of my life, maybe.
Yeah.
But
a first offense, it's typically after 30 days, you get your license back, and you're driving again.
Well, we're going to have to do something about that.
Well, I think so, because lives, our families.
Me not so much, but how about my kid, my daughter?
Sure.
In-laws, friends?
In Contra Costa County, that family, I think, on a bicycle, the father and I think two of his daughters, and the father and one of his daughters was killed. And it's just horrific on a morning, during a morning incident.
Yeah, out riding their bikes.
So that's something we're always concerned about during the summer, of course, is the drunk driving and the responsible beverage service. But our crime is up this year a little bit. We're seeing it in auto theft, break-ins, auto break-ins, and robberies.
Well, real quick though, auto break-ins. I talked to someone who was upset because someone broke into their car and took their laptop and their phone and their... Hello?
There you go. You cannot.
Don't leave that stuff in your car. No. And certainly not where somebody can see it.
Of course. I mean, that's the first rule, is to first lock your car. It's amazing the number of cars that are unlocked. And then secure your valuables. And preferably, if you're going to a movie, leave your laptop at home.
Right.
You know?
Well, and this person's car was in their driveway.
Wow.
And somebody broke in and took all their stuff out of it. It's like, okay, so you couldn't manage to pick up your stuff or make 2 trips? And
make it a habit. Start and make it a habit. Laptop, cell phones, leather jackets, briefcases, anything that potentially might be attractive to a thief. A lot of people will simply look into a car and say, is this an attractive target based on what I'm looking at? If there's nothing visible, they probably move on.
Right.
And it works. It's amazing. We have done surveillances. We've watched thieves look into cars and just walk away. Why? There's nothing in there that they see that's visible.
Why break into a car for nothing? Yeah. Hello. They gotta be efficient too.
It's uncommon. I mean, we've had some thieves, sophisticated, that are watching parking lots, and they watch maybe ladies put the purse under the seat, or people go into the trunk and secure valuables. That's not common. It's very uncommon. Mostly, it's just the crime of opportunity. They're looking to see what's available.
Right. So they wander through parking lots, trying doors, walk up and down the street, trying doors. Something's open. There goes your camera, whatever.
That's it.
And they take your $500 laptop or your $1,000 camera, and they turn around and sell it for $50.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah. Gyms. People have hit the gym. They've stolen when people are parked at local gyms. They know you're going to be in there for a couple of hours.
And you leave all your stuff in.
Of course.
Oh, well. Well, it's TLC, right?
Yeah.
Take, lock, and... I
forgot.
I can't remember the C. Well, we'll figure it out. It's on the website. It's on the PD website. But basically, use some common sense. And maybe that's the C, common sense.
It really is.
You know, I'm going to leave my laptop on the passenger seat of my car and come back 2 hours later and it's gone.
I think, too, people get complacent. This is a nice town. So it's a wonderful town. I love Vacaville. But people will say, well, I'm just going to run into the house and I'll leave my valuables in the car. I'm only going to be a few minutes. And you get sidetracked at home. And a few minutes becomes a few hours. Before you know it, you fall asleep. And that's when... you need to break that habit. And I've gone bowling and I've looked into a car next to me as I pull up, and I saw recently keys in the ignition. Like, wow.
That's crazy, yeah.
What a target.
And you see it all over. It's like keys, GPS stuff, you know. Oh, well.
I would have taken it, but it was an old jalopy.
That was a bad car,
would have been a good joke.
Yeah, well, that's good, Chief. You're honest. So. All right, well, listen, thanks for taking some time out of your day.
Always.
Hopefully we'll have a nice, quiet summer, and everything will be good here in Vacaville.
Okay.
There's a lot of good things going on in our town, as usual.
Very good town.
Thanks in no small part to public safety's efforts, too.
Thank
you.
I
mean that sincerely. So thanks again. And that's going to do it for this episode of Word on the Street. So thanks for watching.